I'm not entirely sure what I do want to do. It's a very difficult thing to say that. Easy to say what you don't want. Quite tricky, quite slippery to lay your hands upon what you do want to do. And that's for anyone, myself included, everybody I know, it's always the same. It's quite tricky to do that. Even if you win the state lottery and millions of dollars land in your hand, you're still in the position where, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you just going to luxuriate in material sensations, or what are you going to do with that? How are you going to shift your growth in that respect? How is that going to change? Are you going to hide away? Are you going to try and escape? Or are you going to do something? So it brings us back always, this thinking, to the idea, which is crucial in understanding this. We talked about a realization earlier, and we talk about something else that's allied to that closely now, which is what I call the construct. And the construct really is a map that is given to us, given to everybody when they first arrive, when they first show up on Earth. And unlike a normal two-dimensional map, which just shows us pictures of where things are and how we get to them and so on, the construct is a deeply immersive, three-dimensional virtual reality that kind of plugs straight into your senses, really. And it tells us what things are and how they work and how we interact with them and what they mean. And babies and adults repeatedly are told what a thing is until they no longer question what they've been told. This is this, it's not something else, this is this. And all the politicians and movie stars and corporate execs and students and mothers and fathers, they all agree on these things, what they are. All of them consent to this construct version of reality. And this is the way it is. It's not some other way. This is the way it is. And everybody follows suit. We all follow suit. And it's in this continual observance of the construct and its routines and traditions and customs that gives it its solidity. And repetition is a very, very important part of that. And so it's only by beginning to move away from that construct and actually reimagining what things are that you figure out something quite astonishing, which is we're actually full of ideas and creative ideas of what the alternatives look like. But you can't do that from within the construct. And I have this little phrase, you cannot change the dream from within the dream. You have to step outside of it to see it. And so it is that persuasive, compelling nature of the construct that stems from everybody's agreement with it, that it's the norm, it's the way things are, it's the real world. And it is, one could say, that normality is the religion of the construct. So to move away from that is to risk being shunned, is to risk being a loony, or to be strange, or to be a cultist or something like that, or a new ager or whatever. And that is the thing that has to be overcome, that fundamentally what we see as normal is actually not normal. It's abnormal. And the way we've been doing things for many, many thousands of years is not normal. It's not the way people want to live, and it's not the way people want to behave. And it's this flipping that over on its head to make those apparently negative things positive. That's what gives the construct its hive mentality. And this is precisely what it relies upon for its kind of structural integrity. And it's only where a certain threshold of people, a certain frequency of consciousness, when they start to lose faith in the construct, it begins to falter. It begins to lose its equilibrium. Disequilibrate, that word again. And that's what we see happening now. People are losing the faith in what it is. So what the construct tries to do is immediately offer an alternative, because it knows that most people don't realize that they can do that themselves. That you don't need anyone else to do it for you. You can do it yourself. But the construct is clever, and it knows that people don't realize that, because we've been taught to believe that really we're just biological machines and we don't really generate anything. We just try and make the best of what we've got. So it doesn't work like that. It really does not work like that. So we have to say a very simple thing. We have to understand something here. Why question what is commonly considered to be the best map of reality, the construct? Why walk away from that? when that has represented the sort of received wisdom of thousands of years of human history? Why would we walk away from that? And for me, there's 3 points there, 3 answers. The first one, on a collective level, the historical story of human beings on this planet has not been a very sane narrative, and it's full of pain and hardship. And those things have become so common, so commonplace, that we're tempted to think that that's just the way it is. That's the way things are with human beings. The second point is this: on an individual level, we are compelled to realize that the construct is not our personal map, it's someone else's. So the way we see reality through this group tunnel is not ours, it's someone else's. So it may not, therefore, be best suited to our own individual journey. Okay? And the third point, on a metaphysical level, and this is really important, I want to be very clear about this, with a bit of contemplation and a bit of stillness in seeing this, it is very clear that we have habitually come to confuse our description of reality, the construct, with reality itself. As has been pointed out many times by many people throughout the years, the map is not the terrain. And so the Hindu spiritual sages obviously referred to the fake map as Maya, a beguiling concealment, they called it. And that is very much what the construct is, but it's become less organic even as that concealment. It's very synthetic now. So, of course, we can debate these points and we can offer counter-arguments and various persuasive little deliberations and so on. But at the inner level, when we're completely authentic with ourselves, we all know full well that the human story has gone off track a little bit. And the system under which we operate does not serve us very well, and it never has done. And so it is time to do things differently, and that begins with moving away from the construct. And the way I describe that is, very simply, we've not obviously got time to go into the ins and outs of this, but if you think of it like this, okay, a bank robber who wants to rob the bank, the first thing he has to do is bypass the security system. And the key to doing that, to penetrating that security system, is in understanding who created the system, how it was created, and what actually is it designed to protect. Okay? And so the construct has to be viewed in that sense. Who created it, how, and what is the construct designed to protect? Because there's an organic element to it, which is part of the mystery of being on Earth, to perceive that. But there is a definite synthetic element to it as well. And it's that synthetic element that deserves our analysis. And very often we can say that the left brain impulse in humans to label and categorize and file and turn everything into this huge taxonomy, this hierarchical system of classification, doesn't really help us hugely in that respect. And so we have to exercise the right brain impulse a little more, the intuitive impulse, the creative impulse. And I understand from sort of neuroscience and stuff, it isn't actually quite as black and white as that with the two hemispheres. It's not quite as simple as that. So I'm just using this as a very rough measure of describing things. But the basic deal is, if you accept the taxonomy, the structure, the hierarchy of the construct, and you agree with that, then it appears that you get a lot of freedom within it, because you can choose from this sort of vast shopping list of things. You know, name what you want and it's all there. You can drive what you want, live where you want, drink and eat what you want, play sport, vote, have sex, join the army, join the Masons, whatever you want to do. You can do anything, whatever. And that's the genius of the construct. And it feels like freedom when you can select from its shopping list, but it is not freedom. So that overwhelming degree of choice really deters people from any further contemplation of what real liberation is, what real freedom is. And so it's only by moving away from that construct that we begin to understand that we do have our own choices. And you only know that when you begin to do it. And the easiest way to do it, to begin that inching away from it, because it's not wise to entirely jump out of it if you've spent your whole life there, because it's too much of a shock. It's like jumping into a freezing cold ocean. It's just